Hi guys, it's Hani here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna show you how to make this beautiful and delicious pumpkin spice latte cake inspired by a real Starbucks drink. I hope you guys will enjoy this video and let's get started. First I'm going to prepare my baking pan. Spray your silicone pan with a non-stick spray and then set these aside. For the cake batter, you're gonna need all-purpose flour, eggs, oil, vanilla extract, pumpkin puree. You can use store-bought or you can make your own. You're gonna need espresso powder or any kind of coffee, instant coffee that you like. I'm gonna be using cinnamon, baking powder, baking soda, ginger, cloves, freshly zested nutmeg, and a little bit of salt, granulated sugar, and brown sugar. Sift flour with all of the spices, then add coffee powder, whisk together and set aside. Into a large bowl, add sugar. Using a mixer or your hands, mix the sugar until combined and then gradually add eggs. Beat well for about 3 to 5 minutes until the mixture becomes fluffy and lighter in color. Then you can add vanilla extract. Now we're going to gradually add flour mix, alternating with the pumpkin puree. Mix on low speed. Give the cake batter last stir, and then we're gonna fill the baking pans. So I'm going to fill these to about 2/3 full, and then we're gonna bake these at 350 degrees of Fahrenheit for about an hour or so, depending on how your oven works. If you feel that they are getting too brown on the top, you can also create a foil dome and bake them that way. Bake them until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Let them cool in a pan for about 30 minutes and then carefully pull the silicone mold to release the cake, and then you're gonna flip it over. You can see there's a little bit of cake that got stuck in the pan. That's okay, don't worry about it. We're going to fix it later. And then just repeat on the bottom portion of your cupcake. I'm going to let these cool completely. While they're cooling, we can prepare the chocolate shell. I'm using white candy melts. And I'm going to basically spread the chocolate on the sides and on the bottom using back of the spoon. Now we're going to stick this into the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back again and we're gonna add another layer of chocolate on the sides. Make sure you go all the way to the top. Using a sharp knife, clean up the edges, and I'm going to stick this into the fridge again for about 20 minutes. Once the chocolate hardens, pull the silicone mold away from the edges and then pull it down. And there you have it, a beautiful cupcake case. I am going to put it back into the silicone mold to protect it. While decorating, we don't want to get any buttercream on it, or if you're handling it too much, you get smudges. Now we can prepare the cakes. So once your cakes are cooled, take serrated knife, and I'm just going to remove all of those overly browned sections of the cake. So you want to go all around the perimeter of the cake, and I'm also going to trim off the bottom. Level the top a little bit. Like I mentioned before, I really like having lots of layers of cake. So I'm going to divide the cake into 3 cake layers. You can obviously just do 1 or 2. Not 1, 2 cake layers if you don't want to bother with 3. And repeat the same process with the top portion of your cupcake, removing the browned edges. Now we're gonna prepare the coffee sugar syrup. So I already had the sugar syrup made, and I'm just adding some instant espresso to it. I ended up adding 2 packets because it wasn't strong enough. I'm going to let it cool, and then we'll use it on the cake. For the filling, I'm using really delicious whipped cream cheese filling, and I'm going to include a link to the recipe down below in our description box. Now spread a little bit of filling on the bottom and also on the sides of your chocolate shell. Brush the bottom cake layer with coffee syrup and then place it inside of the chocolate shell. Spread the filling on the top and then repeat. I ended up trimming the top a little bit because it was a little too high. Are you guys following me on Instagram? If you're not, you're missing out. I'm loving the new story feature on there. And last week I shared this video. So be sure to follow me and keep up with the updates. I'm going to dissolve some gelatin in cold water. I'm using gelatin to stabilize my whipped cream. That is what we are going to use to make that beautiful swirl on the top. Let the gelatin bloom for about 5 minutes and then microwave it for 8 seconds until completely dissolved. You don't want to overheat it though. Make sure you let it cool to room temperature before adding it to your whipped cream. So I'm beating the whipped cream until soft peaks are formed, and then you're gonna beat it on high and gradually pour in the gelatin. I'm also going to add vanilla extract, as always. I love adding vanilla to everything. And I'm also going to add powdered sugar. Add as much powdered sugar as you like. I don't like my desserts to be overly sweet, so I'm not adding too much. So my cake has been refrigerated, and I also put it in a freezer for about 20 minutes. And now we're gonna pipe a swirl on the top. I'm using stabilized whipped cream, and the piping tip that I'm using is Wilton 8B. You can use any star tip that you have, or even a round tip. Take some cinnamon and dust the top with cinnamon. You can also add some cocoa powder if you'd like. To make Starbucks logo, I'm using printed edible images. I had these printed at a local grocery store. It costs me about $8 per sheet. And I'm also going to use white fondant. I'm brushing a little bit of water onto the fondant round, and then using a small spatula, loosen up the edges first, and then you'll be able to remove the logo from the backing paper. Carefully place it on top of the fondant round, and then just smooth it out with your fingers. Make sure that your fingers are dry though, because you will smudge the surface if they are wet. Here I'm applying candy melts onto the back of the fondant, and I'm going to glue it onto the cake. Cake has been refrigerated, so it's going to harden pretty quickly. It's chocolate on chocolate. So once you're happy with it, just leave it be. And last thing we have to do is a straw. So for the straw, I'm actually using, again, fondant that I colored with some green food coloring, and I'm using an actual straw. I'm just wrapping it in the fondant. Trim off the edges. You can use a little bit of water to glue the drinking straw onto the fondant, and then you're gonna smooth it out. Trim the end off and smooth it out a little more, so you have a little bit of overhang there at the top, so you can't really see the drinking straw. You see that? Alright, so I'm going to let this dry for a couple hours, and then I realized I made it a little too big, so I'm going to trim off the bottom. It should slide right off. And then take another drinking straw, make a hole in a cake. I should also say that I brushed green fondant after it was in a cake with a little bit of corn syrup to give it a little shine. To cut the cake, I would recommend that you use heated knife or serrated knife. And there is a slice of this delicious pumpkin spice latte cake. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What should I make next using my cupcake silicone mold pan? See you next time!